So we are doing our second live Q&A with our, I am Dr. Andrea Labuti, and I am here with Helena. Tell me your last name, Helena, because I know there's...
Costa.
Okay, so I'm always confused because of Joao's last name, Carlos. And so we are talking to Helena today, and we've been running this really great free program for parents of children with autism that enables them to get their most pressing questions answered about their children. And we have Helena's son, Joao, who is my dear friends who live in Portugal, and he is an autistic intuitive, or what he likes to call himself, the soul doctor. So Helena, tell me a little bit more before we get into answering some of the questions that families wrote in about. Tell me a little bit more about how you discovered his desire to be a soul doctor and what you think that means.
Hi, Andy. It's great to be with you once again. And it was at a very early age that João sort of gave me the idea that he wanted to be a soul doctor. In fact, he wrote it out when he was around about 10, 11 years old.
Wow.
He wanted to be a holistic doctor. Therefore, even in his second book here in Portugal, he says that that's the way of him becoming and accomplishing his true mission, being a soul doctor, because we are more than physical beings, we are also spiritual beings. So he feels that when you look at a human being, you have to look beyond the physical body and into the subtle energy on the auric field, and João too manages to feel those energies and to transmit a lot of information that sometimes we're not aware of.
You know, that's really fascinating on so many levels, because we all like to connect with people that have sort of these gifts. Now, I know we all sort of have these gifts, but some people are more in tune than other people are. But it also is work that I love doing with you, because one of my missions or things that I want to do here is really help find a place for autistic individuals to be in the world, number one, and help parents, you know, on a trajectory of possibly getting their kids to an independent or a meaningful work, you know, job, career that they can do based on their talents and gifts. So I feel like we're really getting this up and running for Joao to be able to share that gift with the world. And it's just been so eye-opening for me as well. So what I would like to do next, we did do a couple of pre-recorded sessions with Joao where he is answering the question. And so we're going to cut to that in just a moment, but we asked him, what does it mean to be a soul doctor? So here is his response.
Hi, Andy. The first question that Joao will be answering will be the one that you asked, which I have written on his notebook. What does it mean to be a soul doctor? Let's see what Joao has to say, and I'll be recording it as we go along. So far he has written, first of all, let me explain that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. Okay. So I'll be reading out his full answer to what it means to be a soul doctor. First of all, let me explain there are spiritual beings, that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. That being said, besides the physical body, we have other subtle bodies which we do not see but are present. A soul doctor is sensitive to other forms of diagnosis that doctors in general do not pick up. As such, a soul doctor tunes into the information contained in the emotional and mental and etheric body, as well as the Akashic records of the Book of Life.
Really fascinating work that that you guys do together. I'm so happy that you're allowing me to be a part of this process with you. So let's go right to the first question. We're going to cover 3 questions today, and I thought I would read the question and you can read Joao's response. Yes. And just for the audience to know, Joao writes, he handwrites the answers, and then Helena types the answers up, and we do this ahead of time because we're not always sure if Joao is going to be available to write, if he's in the mood, if he's feeling up to it. So we do it when he is able to do it, and that's how that's how we've been running this, to respect and honor his abilities. Okay. All right.
Notebook. I've got the notebook of the soul doctor, which I can show.
Oh yes, please do. Look at that.
His work, nothing is edited, so it's what Joao feels at the moment. He simply writes out what comes to his mind and what he feels in regard to the situation. So there is no editing, no proofreading. I just support his hand because he has poor motor skills, and then I rewrite. I just type out the information. So I typed it out, and I'll be reading it.
Okay, perfect. So I will read the first question, and I'm going to I'm not going to use names, so I'm going to put in either my daughter, my son, and I'm not going to say the identifying information, obviously. Okay, let's see. Okay. This is a letter from this one particular mom. Let's see. Let's start with her specific question. Okay. My children have not been diagnosed as being on the spectrum, but they are both highly sensitive. I have a question about my 13-year-old daughter and was hoping Joao could shed some light. If it is permissible to still ask a question under these circumstances, here is what I would ask. My 13-year-old daughter, who is highly sensitive, has bursts of energy in the evenings, and I've been trying to figure out the pattern to learn the trigger and hopefully discover the root cause. In the evenings, she has to physically move her body and does things like jump around, doing her cheerleading moves, such as the splits or high kicks. When she was younger, she would flop around on the bed excessively. I would be grateful for any insight that can help me support her and whatever may be going on. Thank you for your service.
Okay, Andy, here is Joao's response to this mom. So, dear mom, thank you for your question, and I do not restrict to answering questions on autism. We are one and part of the whole that is. Therefore, there are no drawers or them and us. Your child is a highly sensitive child, like so many more. They are spread throughout the world. Yet people continue to view children with the lens of the past and being blind to the challenges that these newly arrived souls are here to teach and show. Children nowadays are very much connected to their inner being and source and have trouble behaving and conforming to patterns of former children. Your child is like a sponge and picks up energy and thought patterns that are stagnant or blocked and needs to shake this energy off her auric field. It is important for her to be in contact with nature going for walks in parks or at the seaside to ground and release energy that does not serve her well-being. Blessings, João Carlos.
You know, that is such a fabulous response, because it's a little bit different than what parents are usually asking. And as much as, you know, all of the work that we've been doing and all of the work that, you know, in terms of trying to change the autism paradigm, one of the things that I stress over and over, because I've seen it in my own children and other children, is that they pick up on the energy and thought patterns of those around. So being in a school or being in an environment where people are disbelieving in their capabilities or not really being their authentic selves, like they feel one way, but they're trying to act a different way. It's truly amazing that children with autism and highly sensitive children, probably a good majority of the children that are being born today, are actually manifesting in this way. So we as parents see sort of behaviors that make us a little scared because they're not normal behaviors. What do you think about that? What do you think about his response?
It's maybe what is considered normal to us nowadays. Maybe it's got to do with the way we used to have our perception of normality. I think it is highly normal nowadays to have highly sensitive children. We just haven't got to grips with that idea. And sometimes, because we hold on to old perceptions, we do not see that these children have different needs to what we as children had.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a gap that we as adults or have to overcome. I think it's us reaching out to our children, removing our lens of the past, and look at what their needs really are and listening to them. Most children nowadays, they are highly energetic, highly sensitive. And what happens most of the times is trying to dumb these children somehow with medication, and trying to eliminate that excessive energy that they have. And they have nowadays different needs, a whole lot of knowledge to share. And even when it comes to education, everything has evolved. We cannot expect to keep children sitting up in rows and listening to the teacher. These children are not meant to be sitting in classrooms just as empty vessels. They want to find out knowledge, they want to build knowledge, and they want to be heard. I think we have, as adults, to grow a little.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful take on it. And you know, we'll let the audience know about the new school we're starting when the time comes. But we are thinking along the lines of these children, both typical and special needs kids, that really are picking up on energies and stagnant things, and are here to shake it up and break it up. So we're going to provide them with an opportunity to do that in a more meaningful situation. But as I'm reading this, it just reminded me about my youngest son, who doesn't have autism. He's 9 years old. And I am going to tell you this, for the next Q&A, I'm putting him in there, and I'm going to ask João a question about him, because he has a lot of issues going on with hyperactivity in school and stuff. And so stay tuned for the next one, because I want to find out some information. I love that he said, I don't just work on autism, which I sort of knew, but I forget that we can ask about anything, really. So maybe we'll branch out a little bit in future episodes, so families can ask questions that are struggling or wanting some answers outside of just autistic families.
Yes, and João keeps on focusing that we are all connected and we are all one. So we cannot, our rational mind keeps on putting us in drawers and sort of ordering everything. Yeah. And we also have to get out of that mindset.
Absolutely.
that we're all together and we have to hold hands and walk together.
Absolutely. Which is the very first thing I think that he wrote to me was, I have been receiving messages that we have to join hands, join forces. So I'll never forget that, because I was like, wow, this is so great. So great. So in terms of Joao's responses, I want to throw in another clip about a question that we asked him that had to do with this process of him being a soul doctor. So I'm going to cut to the video footage of us asking him, are you enjoying this process? So here it
The
is.
second question that João will be answering is, are you enjoying the process? Yes, that is my mission. Anything else you would like to add, João? Well, this is part of the process. Sometimes João needs a break, so he gets up, he walks around the room, and then he tends to come back and start rewriting and continuing his answer. It's all part of the process. João, would you like to continue? João, would you mind finishing off the sentence, please? So that I can read out the whole text. Okay. So I'll show you his text and I'll read it out now. So the answer to, are you enjoying the process? Yes, that is my mission. As most nonverbal autistic individuals are put aside as having nothing to share or add in society, I want to show that not all in reality is to be perceived through sight. And there is a lot of wisdom in all souls, if only we are open to see with the heart and accept that intelligence, and accept that there is intelligence which the rational mind might not grasp.
Okay, so let's go on to the second question from a parent. All right. This is a question for Joao. Thank you for the brilliant work that you are doing. I'm so excited that Joao has this intuitive gift. Okay, here is her question. My daughter is almost 5 years old and was diagnosed with ASD at age 3, autism spectrum disorder. I think we all know that. She has been progressing, thank God, but still struggles with anxiety symptoms and some auditory issues. I am planning on mainstreaming her from an autistic school to a small private school. What is your intuitive thoughts on her? Thank you so much.
Okay, here is João's response. Hi, Mom. It is good to come together and to share thoughts and insights. Your child is a beautiful little girl and very delicate. More important than mainstreaming is to be aware of how she reacts to the people who surround her and work with her. It is not the place in itself that is going to make a difference, but rather the energy and belief systems of the people that will work with her. Do they accept that autism is another way to perceive the world or sense it? Or are they formatted into fixing her and making her conform into normality? These two attitudes will lead to different outcomes and will let you have a stronger and successful child who thrives on the energy of love, or locks herself in great anxiety and frustration. Feel with your heart. Blessings, João Carlos.
You know, that is, again, it goes back to the topic of, you know, parents ask me all the time, you know, where do I send my child? Do I put them in this program or that program? And I say over and over, it really, now it would be nice to be in a school or an environment that is all welcoming and positive energy and a true belief that autism is a different way to be in the world. I don't think a lot of people are there yet, but we're working on it. And I think that more important than, like João just said, the location or the type of school that they're in, it really has to do with the people. So whether you're choosing a therapy, whatever the therapy is, it's not so much the therapy as it is the teacher and the belief systems of the therapist. Are they proponents of your child's potential? Do they believe that your child has gifts and strengths? Because every child born has gifts and strengths, no matter what they are. Is that teacher or therapist or people around your child really looking for those things?
Yes. And once again, I think it's got to do with our adult mindset that we keep on thinking, if I have him in that setting, in a mainstream school, then he's probably going to have it easier than whether I have it in a special education school. Maybe we have to change our mindsets once again. What is important is the people you have working with your child, which will make that child reach that true potential, whatever the setting.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. There's not so much emphasis on the type of program or the name of the therapy or the name of the school, although again, I would love it for there to be much more life-affirming programs out there, and they're coming. But certainly the people that touch your child should be strongly believing in the child's capabilities and looking for the strengths, okay? Yeah. Not focusing on the deficit.
And give them access to knowledge, giving them access to knowledge.
Yes, and the mindset thing, that's a big piece of this. Having gone through the Sunrise program, that was all about attitude and mindset. That's about joining your child and accepting your child, and the program only works when the parent who's running the program and doing the program adopts a new mindset. So mindset is a big keyword and trigger for sure.
Yes, I think that we as adults have a whole lot of work to catch up on.
True.
Changing our mindset, I think we as adults have a lot of work to do.
We do, and it's a process, and you know, it's happening. It's just, you know. All right, so let me ask, I'm going to cut to this other clip of video since João is sleeping today and not joining us on this live video, not in physical form. We asked him a third question, which was, are you optimistic about the future? And I asked him that because I've been really running a series of videos and discussions on independence for autism and the 4 cornerstones for independence, like communication, therapy, education, wellness. And I really am very excited to hear his response to this. Are you optimistic about your future? So let's cut over to that.
The question we have for João is whether he is optimistic regarding his future. Okay. I'm going now to read out João's response. I can see if he's optimistic about his future. And he wrote, yes, very much. The universe works in marvelous ways, and we have all a biological family and a spiritual family, which we attract through frequency and vibration. And the universe is putting in my experience, souls which will grow together with me, and we will accomplish our missions.
All right, so interesting stuff here. We're going to cover the last question that I have for today, and that is from, okay, here we go. Greetings, João. This is from the mom. I am writing to you for your insight and feedback. My name is, I'm going to leave that blank. I have a 10-year-old daughter on the spectrum. She is minimally verbal and a very smart cookie. I have always wanted a productive and beautiful future for her. I know that the way the world currently is, she will not have a lot of opportunity to participate and contribute to her fullest potential. So I started an organization that provides job training and employment to people on the spectrum. Please have a look at our site and short videos. I'm not going to say what it is at this point until I get permission from this mom. And if she says, yes, it's okay to share it, excuse me, because I don't want to give any identifying information. So if you check out their Instagram page, you'll get a sense of the energy and philosophy. I need to get a drink of water. Hold on. You know, it's funny because when you get that sort of that throat chakra thing and I'm talking about this and it's like, is she trying to tell me that it's okay to talk about it or not to talk about it? That sort of struck me.
We're working on communication and the root chakra. It's important information to get out
right? Okay, here is my question. We are moving into our own workspace in June. It is an opportunity to create an innovative training and work center that can be a hub to introduce all others to our untapped and talented autistic workforce. Please send along any thoughts you have, anything at all that you think we should know or be aware of as we are set out to create and develop this space. I would be grateful for your feedback and anything you would like to share with us, with appreciation. Okay, let's see what he has to say.
So the soul doctor says, dear mom, as you say, your daughter is a very beautiful soul who has come forth to assist humankind in its ascension process. You yourself agreed before reincarnation to assist your child in reaching her fullest potential, despite the challenges, and have come so far a long way in preparing the pathway to success alongside others. Mom, your project answers the wishes of many autistic individuals and their families to be productive and included members of society. Yet, it is important to point out that autistic individuals are very sensitive to energy and thought patterns. Therefore, it is of utter importance that you pay attention to this issue. Make sure your space is energetically clean and that everyone around takes care of having time to clean their energy fields. When it comes to doing anything with autism, individuals there has to be trust, sensitivity, and awareness, because autism is a characteristic which empowers individuals to spot hypocrisy and falsehood. Energy can empower when light and bright. So keep that in mind so that your child can then thrive. Do not exclude the energy of spaces. Blessings, João Carlos.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. I love that people are doing these kinds of things. You and I have talked about that. João has talked about that, finding a place for them in the world, creating a center where they can work and create and, you know, interact with the world and produce and whatever it is that they have a special talent for. So bravo to this mom for doing that. And also another good reminder from Joao about energy. Everything is energy. And what I'm seeing is I'm almost coming up with the title of a new book, The Exquisite Sensitivity of Autism, right? And that is just so multifactorial from their senses, which we happen to see in their behaviors and the things they're doing, but also in these energetic realms of the aura, the chakras, the space. So maybe, I just had an idea, maybe we could do a question and answer with Joao that can help people understand how to help clear these things. I think that might be kind of useful and fun. How do I go about clearing the energy or evaluating the energy of a space that I'm looking at? Now, intuition, like I always get, I don't know if you've ever had this, but I've always had gut feelings about houses, for example. Like I can walk into a house and the hair can stand on the back of my neck up, or I can walk into a house and feel completely at peace, or somewhere in between. And, you know, if you can tap into that feeling, which I think most people can, then that's probably a good way to know whether the space is in the right sort of direction. But knowing from Joao, let's keep that as a mental note, knowing from Joao how to do that. What are your thoughts? Because I know you've done a lot of energy healing, Reiki, pranic healing. What would you say?
I think Joao would be eager and willing to share with us how to clear spaces. In his previous book, he shared how we could do that, and he likes it very simple steps. So maybe we can get the soul doctor to answer those questions. I would like to answer for him. I would like Joao to share his thoughts.
Yes.
Maybe we can ask him those questions, or even get questions from other people and see what he has to say.
That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, I'm just starting to think about themes here of asking him questions. You know, certainly I love the individual questions that people have, but also creating a I don't want to use the word database, but a compilation of information that can help us, right? That can help us raise the energies of ourself, like what does self-love look like, and how do we clear energies? I'm just starting to think ahead here of how our soul doctor can be even more and more helpful to all of us, because I know that I have tons of questions still, and I don't want to hog him all to myself by asking all my own personal questions. I want to share him.
Yes, but I think he'll be very willing. And as I said in his previous book, which is still in Portuguese, I'm working on the translation.
Good.
But he shared some ideas of things that we can do to clear, to get more grounded, to clear spaces. And they're always pretty straightforward and very simple. So I could say short and sweet most of the times.
Yeah, good. Good. All right, well, let's wrap up our Q&A for today. Please give us comments, questions, anything that you would like to see in the future, anything at all. Just comment about what's going on here, and we will be back in 2 weeks. We're going to do this every 2 weeks, and thank you, Helena. Thank you, Joao. Give him a big hug and a kiss for me when you see him. All right, take care.
Bye, Andy. It was lovely to be with you.
Thank you.